Hola, mommies and poppies. It's Yawnie, your dear shaking. Hola, mommies and poppies. It's Yawnie, your DJ and dancing junkie with today's little bitty dose of the dime. Listen, we are still trying to work out this time period. It is Tuesday on a 5 p.m. and I'm so glad that you guys are here with me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm glad you guys are here and I'm glad that you guys are vibing with me because it is almost the end of the year. We are almost the end of the year, and aren't we glad that we are made it through? 2021 has been not necessarily a bad time, but it's been definitely a time that's been challenging for all of us, okay? So I wanted to check in. I'm so thankful that you're here. You could have been anywhere else, but you are here with me. And so I wanted to thank you for tuning in to the Bachelor News Radio Network. It is a pleasure to be here. I am Yawnie, your DJ and dance junkie. I am a licensed master of social work. I actually have a practice that I attend to in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we are on thebatchelornews.airtime.pro. So if any time that you miss a show or you want to check out some of my other shows, the stuff that I talk about, like we've talked about red flags and we talked about narcissists and we've talked about a little bit of everything, definitely tune into that website so that you can see what's exactly going on. Definitely. So with that being said, my lovelies, let's get into today's show. I want to definitely make sure that we talk about the social media group. It is A Dose of the Dime radio show. It's on Facebook. It's a public group. You guys are welcome to jump in. And as you know, I always kind of try to jump in and put some hot topics in there so that we could talk about it. So what I want to do is start implementing a segment called Hot Topics, where we talk about some of the stuff that we talked about on there. Definitely, because they are pretty interesting topics. So the last week we talked about spouses and entitlement, and last week I was not able to get to it, but today I'm going to get into it. So we're going to start doing it now at the head of the show versus at the end of the show because we don't necessarily get into it. So let's just make sure that we make an effort to get into that information because it's important. Okay, so the question was, and A Dose of the Dime radio show, are spouses entitled to sex? Are they entitled to sex? It was an interesting topic. So of my group, now obviously I have over 600 members in my group, but only 23 females replied and 14 males replied. And you will be surprised to know that of the 23 females, 15 said no, 8 said yes. Okay, so of the 14 males, 10 said no, and 1 said yes. So what does that mean? So it was a general question, okay? So it wasn't anything specific. It was more so about definitely, if you are married, is someone entitled to have sex with you, whether you like it or not? Entitled is a big word. It is a word that is kind of, it's big. And I don't mean withholding. Please understand that is not necessarily what we were talking about. It is not about withholding sex, okay? This is actually about, is someone, if you guys got into a fight and you're not feeling them right now, but they wanted sex, is that something that they're entitled to because they're your mate? That's what the question was. So with that being said, let's talk about it. So with my infinite knowledge, unfortunately I said infinite, it's not infinite, but during my master's degree program, we did a lot of, I did a lot of reports on marital rape, and that sounds pretty bad, okay? But it is what it sounds like. These are spouses that took advantage of their significant other for sex, and not in a pretty way. And obviously this is all more so men on women, and they were viciously raping their wives when their wives did not consent to have sex. So the question became, was it okay? What are they entitled to sex just because they have married you? Now, what sparked this conversation was actually a comment in my inbox asking me if someone is ugly to you, if someone has been mean, or if someone's been vicious, or somebody has not been real to you, or they've not been a loving spouse to you, are they still entitled to the benefits that are given as a married couple? And so I went even more specific. If a person is ugly to you, if there's bad behavior, if there's emotional abuse, are they entitled to sex? So of that group, of that question, 14 females responded, 7 males responded to that one, and 100% across the board, everyone said no. So I appreciate my Dom pieces. I love you guys because, yeah, you were on it. Absolutely. You are not, for my opinion, and again, my opinion only, you are not entitled to sex. Not even a little bit. Sex is a consensual thing. Both people should be involved. Both people should consent. And definitely both people should be turned on. So if you're not turned on, if you're not feeling it, if you're not feeling your partner right now, is that okay to just demand sex? I don't think it is. That's my opinion. Obviously, there is no clear-cut yes, no to this, but I don't think you are. I think that sex is something that you feel when you are in love. Sex is something that can be joyous and joyful when you two are on the same page, because when you're not on the same page, it can turn ugly quick. I'm sure some of you can already tell me that it can turn ugly very, very quickly. So with that being said, yeah, I do not believe that if you are married, you are entitled to sex. I just don't. So if you got any comments, questions, or concerns about that, please let me know, because I will definitely address it and we can keep it moving. So, hey, I see Barry Bonds is tuned in. Sorry, sir. I'm sorry I'm not right after you anymore. I kind of missed your stats and stuff. It was kind of good. I kind of sounded smart. I kind of sounded smart like on the radio when I talked about sports and stuff. I don't sound smart anymore. I kind of sound like an idiot. But it's okay. Social work, relationships, this is my groove. This is my thing. So last week, we kind of talked about and we addressed healing and shadow work, because there's a lot of us who have a lot of healing to do. We've all had some bad relationships. We've all had things that happened in our, in our past that have made us not necessarily easy or fun to deal with. And with that being said, we talked about what necessarily is our shadow self, because this is like a $10 term that's on TikTok right now. Your shadow self, your shadow work, the things that you're supposed to do. So what the shadow self is all the bad things that you don't want to necessarily admit about yourself. It is the guilt, the jealousy. For me, it's jealousy, for real, big time, across the board. It's jealousy. It's abandonment issues. For me, also big time across the board. It is the gluttony, greed, enviousness, the things that we just don't want to really address about ourselves. That's our shadow self. And so, with that being said, what is shadow work? So, shadow work is addressing those issues, and finding out why we do it, because why we do it is important. Excuse me, guys. If you don't find out why you do it, you're going to continue to do it. If you don't find out why you do it, you're going to miss the triggers. Triggers are important, because triggers are what send you going and self-sabotaging. And that's important. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and you keep sabotaging yourself, you keep creating arguments, you keep putting yourself in situations that normally you would not be in, definitely you want to find out why you do that so that you can address it ahead of time. If you can get ahead of some of these triggers, then you're 100% ahead of the game. You're 100% in a space where you can make your relationship work for you. So definitely that's something that you want to get together, okay? So how do you do shadow work? Journaling. Anytime something pops up, anytime any memory pops up that you remembered your parents did this and it made you feel this, or not just parents, because I know we address parents a lot, but it's not just parents. This could be a relationship you had in the past. Anytime an ex-boyfriend or a boyfriend does something that your ex-boyfriend did and now you are triggered and you think they're going to cheat on you or whatever, that's also a trigger. So you want to find out why you are triggered and how to get in front of that. because not all behavior is the same. Not all behavior is the same. It's not. Okay. Definitely want to make sure that that is across the board. Not all behavior is the same. There are some people do things the same way, doesn't necessarily mean that they're the same person. So if you get onto it, you start journaling the memories that you find, you start reflecting on the situations that maybe you have witnessed in the past. Like, for instance, if something, you and your mate had an argument and it went down and it went ugly, you want to sit and you want to reflect and say, okay, is this something that is okay? Should I have done something different? Definitely want to sit and say, hey, what could I have done differently? Stuff like that. Okay. So things that you want to definitely address. How can I have done this differently? And definitely choosing who it is that you want to be, how it is you want to show up in your relationship, and learning, again, what your triggers are. Triggers are absolutely important. They have to be important, okay? And then how to cope when you are triggered. So, okay, something pops up in your trigger and you feel like this feels like a relationship that I had in the past. How do I deal with this? And then you put out your coping skills, whether it is to just walk away for a minute or whether it's to kind of just vibe and talk it out with your mate, or whether it's just to absolutely sit and be still and figure out, what can I do next? Okay. These are all definite things that you could do, but that was what we talked about last week. And if you have any questions, please address it in the comments below. I'll definitely try to get on that and try to get you guys together and give you what it is that I have to give. But let's talk about the next part, which is this year we have wrapped up Christmas. Christmas is done. And now we're getting ready to head towards the new year. So what I normally see on my Facebook, which you guys have normally seen too, is definitely the, hey, New Year's coming, new year, new me. What's up? But is that really realistic? I definite how many of us have set so many definite realistic, what we thought were realistic goals or resolutions, only to be shut down, okay? And it's a big deal. In the past, and we'll talk about it in a little bit right after the break, but I did want to address, we had a comment. It says, Janet in Raleigh said, what's the difference between withholding and sex? Listen, that is the next question, but I will give you my opinion. Okay. So withholding, because entitlement means that we got into an argument. You don't like what I said. I don't like what you said. I'm not turned on right now. So that, to me, if I give you some, or if you are demanding some, or if you're taking advantage of me at the moment because I'm your wife, that is your entitlement to me. And actually, to me, that's sexual assault. Withholding is, I don't like the fact that he didn't take out the trash. And so I'm going to give him the cold shoulder, and I'm not going to give him any because he didn't do what he said he was going to do. That's withholding to me. Again. So Sophia said, spouses are entitled to sex. Otherwise, they are not living up to their marriage duties. Okay, so here is the thing about that statement. Of course, again, this is a hot topic. A lot of women, more women than men, were saying that sex is an entitlement. And I think probably because the nature of our sexual nature, we as women, and I'm going to put the blame on us, lovelies, I love you, but we as women feel like we are entitled if you are aroused, even though mentally you're not. But if you're physically aroused, we feel like we're entitled to it. You're a husband and you're aroused. So obviously your body is saying yes. I don't care what your mind is saying. So I think that's a fault within us. But does that mean that we are entitled to your body because we're married? No, that I disagree. I feel like there should be an agreement, a conversation, some communication, but definitely not entitlement. Entitlement is a whole different deal. Because when you start talking about entitlement, you start talking about rights. And when you start talking about rights, if you don't feel like you want to give up any, and you do anyway, that's a choice, but you are giving it freely. But if you give it up, or if it's taken from you, is that okay? Just because you're a spouse? No, it's not. I disagree. Just because you're a spouse does not mean that someone is entitled to put whatever in your body. I disagree 100% across the board. Just because I've seen too many instances where spousal rape has happened and women had no legs to stand on and they were really being abused in their own household. I won't support it. And I know y'all might be mad at me, but I'm so sorry. All right, so let me take a moment to talk about our beautiful, wonderful radio station here. This is the Bachelor News Radio Network. And I got to telling you, it's so cool to be here. It's an awesome show. My show is awesome, at least. But definitely we have my soul sister at arms, my counselor and co-part. It's Lakeisha Lewis-Fick. She has a show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. I think it's like literally right after mine almost. But she has a good show, and she talks about a lot of different things. My focus is mainly on relationships because this is what I know, and I know, and I know. I've focused on relationships for so many years, whether it comes to relationships with families and children, or whether it becomes relationships with families and marriage and spouses. But this is what I know through and through in my heart. But definitely check out thebatchelornews.airtime.pro. You can see a lot of different shows and kind of weigh out what it is that you like. Okay. So, but on the Bachelor News Radio Network, there is this cool thing called Feature Album Friday. And let me tell you, this week it is Faith Evans. I love Faith Evans. Woo! Listen, when I went through my divorce, there were a couple of her songs dealing with Biggie that touched my soul. I mean, it just is what it is. Because there were a lot of her songs that dealt with being played and having to live through that. So I love Faith Evans. So what Feature Album Friday is, they play 30 minutes of this feature artist, and it's like 30 minutes of her whole discography. Okay. It's going to be 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 Central, but it's 30 minutes of it, and you get to, vibe with it and be chill. And the other piece is we have what we call Whisper Softly. So Whisper Softly is kind of like their Quiet Storm type of vibe. And they, get in and they play these wonderful, soothing, sensually soulful, sexy songs that you can just kind of sit and vibe with. Okay. So those are ones that I love too. And I hope you guys tune in. It's literally Sunday through Friday, not Saturday, Sunday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys get a chance to tune in. And right now we're going to take like a quick break. And I hope you guys are hanging out with me right here on the Bachelor's Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Amanda Pete. Like all new parents, my husband and I want what's best for our baby. When it was time for our daughter's immunizations, we wanted the facts. So we carefully researched vaccines. We spoke with doctors and other experts and asked them tough questions. We decided that vaccines were the best thing for our child. I urge you to get the facts. Learn the facts about vaccines so you can make the best healthcare decisions for your family. Thank you.
A message from the American Academy of Pediatrics and VaccinateYourBaby.org.
This is Chicago-style hot dog here. I'm not feeling too good. Turns out, along with all the other bad things my cholesterol does, they say it's a risk factor for strokes. Strokes? Sheesh. Good news from National Stroke Association. Exercising, eating right, and asking your doctor about medicines that can help lower your cholesterol like statins may reduce the risk of a first stroke. And if you've already had a stroke, it's even more important you lower your cholesterol.
Lower your chances of stroke by controlling your cholesterol. Visit stroke.org today.
So I'm glad you guys are here. So welcome back. This is Yawnie, your DJ and dance junkie. Thank you for tuning into the DJ Time. I appreciate you guys. Did want to mention that you can always reach me on my website. It is www.thedjdime.com. But you can also hit me up on the Facebook page, which is A Dose of the Dime Radio Show. And it's a public group on Facebook. So you guys are welcome to jump in and get into the conversation because I discuss everything that we talk about on here on the radio show. So you guys are welcome to jump in and get into that. So like I said, we're going to talk about goals, right? 2021 for me was kind of an interesting year. Summertime owes me nothing. I had hot girl, abundant, blessed summer. I did all kinds of stuff this summer, including starting this radio show, which is something that I kind of wanted to do, was on my bucket list anyway. So I really, really vibed with this summer, and it was not on my list of goals. But let's talk about goals, okay? So we want to make sure that you guys are setting clear, intentful goals. New Year's resolutions. So let's be real. Everybody jumps into the comments and they go, new year, new me, oh my God. And you go to the gym, and like I go to the gym frequently. It is something that I do. I have a what we call a quarantine crew. Hey, quarantine crew. And we work out a lot, and we work out together, and we do classes almost every day. Unfortunately, Tuesdays have been taken up with my radio show, but I have no regrets because I love you guys. Definitely wanted to, when you go into the gym on January, it's like no treadmills available or no ellipticals available. All the classes are jam packed, but by February or March, there's nobody there. So let's be realistic about our goals. You are 10 times more likely to be consistent within the first 6 months if you set your goal on January 1st. So that's a plus. Absolutely a plus, right? Okay, so moving forward, what else do we know about this? Here's the thing. While you are 10 times more likely to keep that goal up by the first month, you are 50 times more likely to drop. Why is that? Okay, so let's be realistic. It is our approach. It is the actual goal, and it is the follow through. You must have a plan. You cannot make a plan on January 1st and expect it to be effective. You need to plan prior to your start date and to move forward, okay? Definitely, for sure, we need to be clear about that, okay? So a resolution or a goal or a habit, which one is it? So to run a marathon, that's a goal. And the reason why I said that, so a marathon versus maybe learning a language or maybe deciding that you're going to read the Bible every day. One is a goal, one is a habit. And they're two different things. So if you're deciding to do something new, if you're deciding to do something new for the rest of the year, you want to make sure that you are very clear on that. So again, a goal is like a milestone. It's a one-time thing. You get it, and you accomplish it, okay? Versus a habit, which is a little bit of work every day. So it's a lifestyle change. It is not just a thing that you work on and you're done. And it requires smaller goals to kind of break up, be part of, so you can get into it, okay? So like there are different types of lifestyle changes. You could be either adding something positive to your life, or you can be like definitely removing something negative. So that, and those both require different tactics, okay? So if you're removing something negative for your life, for instance, like gambling, or you're trying to slow down on your drinking, you want to kind of dig in as to why you drink or why you gamble or why it is that you continue to mess with this person that you know is going to be a problem. So, and then you want to get into removing the triggers. What are the triggers that make you want to go back? Is it slow songs? Are you catering your timeline to slow and slappy songs so you go back to this person that used and abused you before? Or is it the cha-ching of the, money machine in front of you that makes you want to go gamble? Or maybe it's driving past the liquor store. Take another route. Remove these obstacles, remove these temptations, do something different, and add coping. Coping is very important for everybody. Coping is something that everybody, every adult, every person, anyone in therapy, anyone not in therapy, need to learn how to do. Coping is when I feel this urge to do this, what do I do? Do I cave or do I move forward? The goal is, again, to move forward, okay? So we want to make sure that if you're removing something negative, that you have stuff in place so that you can be successful. The goal is to be successful. That's my goal. So I want to kind of push through this, adding something positive into your life. You want to break that down into smaller goals. So adding something positive into your life is kind of similar to taking something negative out, because actually it's better if you do it that way. By removing something negative, you want to add something positive. So what that means is, you're like, instead of going to the gym, instead of going to the casino hall, you go to church, or instead of going to the gym or going to the bar, you go to the gym. Those are absolutely fair trade-offs, okay? But you want to break things down into small, attainable goals, okay? So what happens is we have these big, lofty goals of lose weight. So what do? We jump into the gym. We're doing all kinds of heavy things. I'm going to go into the gym, be in the gym for an hour. I'm going to do treadmill, and then I'm going to jump on these weights. And then you end up sore and hurt the next day, and you don't want to go back. You don't want to go back. And that is a hinder from you to want to go and finish this goal. So instead of making these huge, grandiose efforts, make them small efforts. Make them little bitty chunks of things that you're going to do. You don't have to make huge efforts in order to knock this goal out, because the goal is, first of all, if it's a goal for the year, that's 365 days. If you could do 30 minutes every day, that's still working on your goal. So you don't have to do these huge chunks or huge grandiose movements in order to make sure that you're doing your goal. You want to make small efforts to make sure that you're progressing. The whole goal is progression. It is not necessarily winning. That's the thing. So let me move forward. You want to be able to track your progress. If you're doing like going to the gym, note every time that you go to the gym, put it on your calendar. Put a huge G on it. So when you look back at your calendar and you see, oh man, I killed it this month. Yeah. Or man, I need to absolutely get back on this. It's important. You have to make these things. You have to track your progress. Okay. So let's be clear. What's another reason why we fail? We do not define our goals. Our goals are so grandiose of losing weight or fixing our credit or saving money. I'm not saying these are negative goals. What I'm saying is get clear, be real, be specific. So I want to tell you about SMART goals. I got about 4 minutes and then my show is going to end. So SMART goals, S is for specific. And I'm going to post this in a group. So if you guys go to my group, you can see it. S is for specific. Narrow it down. If you want to lose weight, how much? How much? If you want to fix your credit, to what? If you want to save money, how much? Be real, be specific, okay? Measurable. You want to make sure that it's something that you can track. If you're losing weight, count how many times you go to the gym, or start tracking your food, or definitely start tracking how much water you drink. These are things that'll be helpful for you losing weight, especially if you put down a number on the goal. Okay. Number 3, make it attainable. You are not going to lose 100 pounds within 3 months. And if you are, you might need to go to the doctor. Real talk. It's just not going to happen. It's not a healthy, attainable goal. You want to make sure the things that you're asking for is stuff that you can do so that you don't beat yourself up later. Real talk. Okay. Looks like Monica in Texas said goals can become disappointing if you don't reach them. Exactly. That's why your goal has to be attainable. It has to be attainable. And do not set yourself up with like 15 goals to do at the head of the year. Do not set yourself up with 15 goals. You want to make 3 or more, 3 goals that you can attain and get in and knock out. And that will be it. Again, make them specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant. If they are not in alignment with who you are not going to do it. They have to be based on who you are. They have to align with who your person is. And that is across the board. Okay. And the last one is make it a clear and clean timeline. If you're saying a year, that's fine. You still have to break that up into measurable chunks. So in a quarter, March. So in a quarter, you have lost 10 pounds. That's an attainable goal. That's an attainable goal. Or if you do it this way, I have gone to the gym at least 50 times. Let's say 30 times by March. That's an attainable goal. It's not something that you have to worry about messing up, okay? You want it to be attainable. You want it to be something that you can do, and you want it to be something that you can measure and something that is relevant to you, okay? And definitely you want to put a timeline on it. So unfortunately, that is my time, my loves. I'm so glad that you joined me here, and I love the fact that you are here. And I hope that you join me here next week, same time, same place, on the Bachelor News Radio Network. But I want to say, please make your goals and set yourself up for achievement. Remember, we do not chase, we attract. So attract wonderful things, my loves. Be blessed, be wonderful on the Bachelor News Radio Network. Peace.
Sometimes we fall